I know, this has been an ongoing thing that's happened in a lawsuit and it's been resolved. Just kind of walk me through what's happened, how we got to this point.
Okay, so originally, when the Summer Wells incident started, a couple days in, we had a gentleman that had sent a $25,000 check to Kingsport Times News. In the process of trying to figure out how or who would be able to do a reward fund, Church of Rescue Squad took the initiative to go ahead and open up a account at our bank we were banking at the time solely for a reward fund. We did advertise the reward fund. Originally it was a 6-month time span, be expiring in 6 months, be going back in front of our board of directors, look to see if it was going to be able to be extended, and at that time. The first 6 months it went from our board of directors. Board of directors decided to extend an additional 6 months for a year total. From the get-go, at the original board of directors meeting, one of the things that was discussed was at the end of the reward fund, what are we going to do with this money? So if Summer was not found, what are we going to do with the money? After speaking to several other agencies, state and local officials, it was determined obviously the easiest way was to find something that money could be given to. From the start of the Summer Wells case, speaking with state and federal employees, they utilized the Child Advocacy Center, I believe in Mossheim, for quite a bit of the case. I believe it was used for obviously Summer's other siblings. With that, after doing some research, talking to some of the officials and stuff, Church of Rescue Squad's board of directors felt that whatever money was generated at the end hopefully would be going to somebody and obviously in finding Summer. But if not, we wanted that money to go to an agency in our region, in our area, that obviously can help with other children in the area. Under the same situations, and I'm sure she can elaborate more on this, but there are so many things that Department of Child Services, the Child Advocacy Center in Mossheim and here, they do so much more than what I think even people realize. My eyes were opened quite a bit just during that 2-week stint we were there, on what type of services they provide. So at the end of the year, obviously, all donations had stopped. We were in the process. Obviously, there are many legalities behind doing something like this. So through our legal counsel, through the Child Advocacy Center's legal counsel, going through all the motions that had to be went through, finally determined, hey, this is what needs to be done. Well, obviously with anything, a couple hiccups come in. Some of the donations that were direct deposited into the account, there were some concerned people that had donated from across the whole entire world to this. And in that process, there was some other legality questions that our agency had just to make sure everything was covered.
So you had 2 big checks that were donated that were returned uncashed.
So yeah, the $25,000 check that we originally had, we never had ownership of that. The gentleman that wrote that, when I explained to him that it would be deposited into an account, he pretty much wanted to keep a hold of that. Hey, if she's found, this $25,000 goes to that individual. We had an additional $10,000 check that was wrote from a local business owner in the Kingsport region who said, hey, I don't want it deposited. Either I can keep it, you can keep it. I'd rather you guys keep it locked up. It was locked up in a safe, and at the end of the time frame was asked, hey, $10,000 check's here. We're either going to deposit it. How do you want this to be done? He requested for that check to be given back to him, and he stated that money also, that sometime later, if tomorrow, if something leads to this finding of Summer Wells tomorrow, a year from now, from my understanding from both of those 2 big donors, that money is still available for that. So the money that will be given to the Child Advocacy Center is what was remaining from those 2 amounts.
And those contributions that comprise that check there,
Yes.
they came in from people, from all over the world, basically.
All over the world.
Small increments, basically.
Some of them were, we had $1.50 donations up to hundreds of thousands of dollar donations. And like I said, everything
I mean,
from
hundreds and thousands.
hundreds and thousands.
Okay.
Yes. There was one group, from my understanding, that done a campaign over Facebook and YouTube, I believe. Comprised of that donation, from my understanding, was close to the hundreds of thousands.
Oh wow.
That was part of the questions in amongst of what caused for so long and what led us to having to do, in essence, the lawsuit was because of the hundreds of donations that went into this account. A lot of them we had no knowing of who made the donation.
Right.
The bank doesn't ask that information. It was, hey, I want to donate, for example, $10 or $100 to the Summer Wells Reward Fund. They gave them that money, they got a receipt, they left.
So the lawsuit gave contributors an opportunity to claim.
To claim what money that they gave. So
nobody did.
Nobody showed up to the court date.
What's your dollar figure now that you have left over?
So the dollar figure now left over, once all court costs and everything else was given out, there's a total of $39,774.35 that will be donated to Child Advocacy Center.
Okay, all right. Now, remind me again, what's your name?
My name is Dina Hicks.
Can you spell that for me?
Yes, it's Deana, and then Hicks is Hicks.
Okay, and what's your title?
I'm the Executive Director at the Child Advocacy Center for the 3rd Judicial District.
Okay, so what's your history behind this? How did you find out about this contribution coming, and what are your thoughts on that?
I think, like most of the community, we found out through the various media reports that people were wanting to make a donation and that their board of directors had met and had nominated us to be the recipient if no one was able to come forward with a credible lead that would lead us to summer. And of course, we were incredibly grateful for even the opportunity. The Child Advocacy Center covers 4 counties in the 3rd Judicial District: Greene County, Hawkins, Hancock, and Hamlin, and we are the best kept secret.
What do you
in
guys?
those counties.
What services do you provide?
We are providing direct services to children and families when there are child abuse allegations, particularly allegations involving what Tennessee would consider severe abuse. When a child has been sexually abused, severely physically abused, methamphetamine exposure, prenatally exposed, those kinds of the abuse that's going to cause the most trauma in their lives. So we're providing these specialized services with highly trained individuals in a safe, comfortable, child-friendly setting, so that when kids and families come in, that child's only job is to start being a kid again. We take their story, and it's up to us big people in the investigation and the rest of the system to make sure that they heal and they're okay. And then we're working with all of our resources with the Child Protective Investigative Team in each county. So we're making sure that kids are not being re-victimized by the system and making sure ultimately that kids are safe and are going to heal from their
Okay. And this is a state-funded agency?
No, we are
No?
a private, non-profit,
There you go.
501c3. We do receive some state funding, but we are fundraising constantly. So that's why it's so important for the donations from the community and the support. And we would very much like to thank the community, not just for the general support, but mostly their love and their care, as many agencies were involved in this search for summer. And the outpouring of love and compassion has been amazing. And I think I speak for you and all of us when I say we still are hopeful and optimistic.
Absolutely.
That a tip is going to come in any moment and is going to lead us to summer.
I think everybody feels that way.
I do too.
But,
yes.
if one positive thing can come out of this whole nightmare,
Yes.
it might be this right here.
Absolutely. Until that day comes that we can find summer and put that case to rest. That money will be used directly to make sure that kids have a safe environment.
How
Just
big
for
is this
healing.
for you guys? Does this is probably
This
obviously
is huge.
it don't happen every day.
Oh, not at all. This is the largest single donation our agency has ever received.
Wow, that's great.
It's huge for us. We
Yeah.
are a small agency. We have 5 employees and we serve about 700 kids a year from our 4 counties. So we're in a building that's was in the 40s, was built
Right.
in an old bank building over in Mawson, and this will be put to good use.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and make the official
Great.
exchange now? All right. Now look at me and smile. Okay. I think I got it now.
The outpouring, one, from the start to the finish, which I can't say finish, I don't even consider it finished yet because obviously some hasn't been found, but the initial search / investigation that occurred over 2 weeks in Beach Creek was the outpouring support of one, local, state, and federal agencies that, like I said, come to Beach Creek. You know, and I mean, it's not like you sit there and say Bristol Motor Speedway or Bristol. People know where that's at. You bring up Hawkins County, you bring up Mossheim, you bring up Beach Creek. People don't understand. They have no idea. And then the community support. We felt it there at Beach Creek, and has continued to see it evolve, grow. And when the final figures were wrote, that shows a very large outpouring of support, not just for summer, but as mentioned, then from the start, once our board of directors decided to do it, was that it would be going to the Child Advocacy Center. That was the main drive. Was, you know, hopefully we find summer, and hopefully we still find summer. But ultimately, while we're working on that, this hopefully can go to better other children's lives, not just here in Hawkins County, obviously 4 counties in the state, and that's big.
Is there something that you'll be able to do now that you wouldn't have been able to do without that? Or you just got to process it?
We are still processing. My board of directors and I are still processing such a large amount. So at this point, we know we want to utilize it to carry on the mission and making sure that there is always that sustainability in a place where kids like Summer and her brothers and all the other kids in our community have a safe place for healing. But exactly what it's going to be used for, we haven't determined
Okay.
yet.
All right.